When Daniel first mentioned it, I laughed hard. Not the kind of laugh that eases tension, but one filled with scorn. Seriously? I scoffed, shaking my head. You're jealous of Ethan? He's my best friend. We've known each other since college. You're being ridiculous. His jaw clenched, though he didn't argue. He just gave a slow nod and went quiet. It was the kind of silence that cut deeper than shouting, the kind that told me I'd hurt him more than I realized. Later that night, I told my sister, Daniel's acting insecure. He actually thinks Ethan's some kind of threat. It's so childish. She agreed, and I felt validated for dismissing his worries. To me, Ethan was the one constant in my life. There through heartbreaks, toxic jobs, even during the early days of my relationship with Daniel. He was the friend I could talk to about anything, without fear of being judged. But here's what I didn't see. From the outside, it didn't look so harmless. Ethan texted me constantly, and I always answered right away. Sometimes I'd laugh at his jokes while Daniel and I were having dinner, leaving my husband staring at me across the table. There were inside jokes Daniel wasn't part of, hugs that lingered longer than they should, and conversations that stopped the second Daniel walked into the room. I told myself it was nothing, but deep down I knew better. A few weeks later, Daniel tried again. Sophie, he said one night, his voice low. Do you understand how this feels? It's like you're sharing parts of yourself with Ethan that should belong to us, belong to me. I rolled my eyes, irritated by his tone. You're overreacting. He's just a friend. Stop trying to control who I talk to. That was when I saw something change in him. His eyes carried a quiet finality, like a man who had just made up his mind. I didn't notice then, too caught up in thinking I'd won the argument. But really the game had just shifted. Over the next month, Daniel changed. Not in an explosive, angry way, but in subtle, unsettling ways. He stopped asking where I was when I went to meet Ethan. He no longer stayed awake waiting for me when I came home late. The man who used to hang on every detail of my day suddenly seemed detached, far away. At first, I thought it was a breakthrough. Finally, I told myself, he's letting go of his obsession. But it didn't feel like relief. It felt hollow. His silence carried more weight than any fight we'd ever had. Meanwhile, Ethan kept showing up, texting, calling, inviting me out. And I leaned into it harder, almost out of spite. If Daniel wasn't going to care, then fine. I'd laugh louder at Ethan's jokes, stay out longer, share even more secrets. But the more I gave to that friendship, the colder home became. Dinners turned into quiet meals where Daniel hardly looked at me. Nights ended with him rolling away without a word. Then came that Friday. I walked in after a night with Ethan and saw Daniel in the living room, a suitcase beside him. My heart sank. What are you doing? I stammered, trying to sound calm though my voice cracked. He looked at me, not with anger or tears, but with something worse. Indifference. I can't do this anymore, Sophie, he said evenly. I warned you. I told you how it made me feel, and you laughed at me. I won't beg for respect in my own marriage. I froze. Wait, you're leaving me over Ethan? Are you serious? My words tumbled out in desperation, but he didn't waver. Daniel took a steady breath. It's not about Ethan. It's about you. You chose to make me an outsider in my own marriage. And I'm done. It felt like the ground crumbled beneath me. I had always believed Daniel would never leave, that no matter how far I pushed, he'd stay. But standing there with that suitcase, he looked like a man who had already left long ago. I stumbled toward him, panic rising. Daniel, please don't do this. Ethan's just a friend. I was wrong to mock you. I didn't mean it. My voice cracked, my confidence gone. But Daniel only shook his head. You don't get it, Sophie. You didn't just mock me, you dismissed me. You dismissed my feelings like they were nothing. You laughed while I was drowning. His words hit like stones, heavy and undeniable. For the first time, I saw myself through his eyes. The dinners where I rolled mine at his questions, the nights I brushed him off with sarcasm, the times I chose Ethan's validation over my husband's trust. Suddenly, it wasn't about jealousy anymore. It was about betrayal, not physical, but something deeper, more cutting. I reached for his hand. We can fix this. Please, I'll stop seeing Ethan. I'll do anything. My words dripped with desperation. Daniel gently pulled his hand away, like someone who had already made peace with his choice. I gave you years, Sophie, he said softly. I begged you to see me, but you never did. You only saw a jealous husband to mock. Now I finally see myself, and I see that I deserve better. He picked up the suitcase and walked out. The silence that followed was suffocating. I sank onto the couch, replaying every cruel laugh, every sarcastic jab, every time I made him feel small instead of safe. Ethan's name lit up my phone on the coffee table. But for the first time, I didn't care. His attention meant nothing compared to what I had just lost. I had believed Daniel would always stay, no matter how much I pushed. But I was wrong. My mocking had carved a canyon between us. And when he finally crossed it, he never looked back. That night, I realized, too late, that the man I dismissed as jealous was the only one who ever truly loved me.